As he sat waiting, he heard the familiar voice shouting,
Yes, plantain chips. Yes, plantain chips.
He turned quickly, and there she was, the lady who looked like his wife.
I knew it.
Enim thought. This time, he wasn't going to let her get away. In the suburb of Accra lived a couple called Elinam and Elinam. Elinam and Elinam had been married for 5 years. They had 2 beautiful children, Atom, who was 4 years old, and Eli, who was just 1. Their life together seemed perfect, full of happiness and peace. Elinam loved Elinam deeply, but there was one thing that always caused arguments between them. He had never met her family. When Elinam first proposed to Elinam, he was thrilled to take the next step with her. But as they began planning the wedding, Elinam noticed something odd. Elinam didn't seem interested in introducing him to her family. One evening, he brought it up, hoping for a simple explanation.
Elinam, why haven't I met your parents yet? I think it's important they are there on our big day.
Elinam paused, her face darkening for a moment before she forced a smile.
Oh, my love, my parents are very traditional. They live deep in the Volta region and they believe that coming to Accra will only disrupt their peace. They hardly even leave the village for anything. Besides, she added, squeezing his hand, they believe the love between us, and isn't that what matters most?
Elinam was uncertain, but trusted her words.
Are you sure they are okay with us getting married without them?
Elinam nodded, reassuring him.
They just want me to be happy. I've told them all about you and they know you are a good man. They gave me their blessing. Elinam, isn't that enough?
With that, Elinam's doubts were washed away and he went ahead with the wedding, his heart full of love for Elinam. At their 5th anniversary dinner, Elinam raised the question that had troubled him for years.
Elinam, we've been married for 5 years and I still don't know any of your relatives. Adam is already 4 and Eli is 1. Don't you think it's time I meet your parents and siblings?
Elinam smiled sweetly and reassured him as she always did.
My love, they live far away in the village in the Volta region. I promise I will take you to meet them soon. Just give me a little more time.
But months passed and Elinam still hadn't made any effort to introduce Elinam to her family. One unbearable hot afternoon, as Elinam was stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic, he was tapping his fingers on the steering wheel, trying to stay patient when a voice caught his attention.
Yes, plantain chips. Yes, plantain chips.
A hawker weaved through the cars, balancing a large basket on her head and calling out as she moved from one vehicle's window to the next. Elinam glanced over, curious. At first, he was just looking for a distraction from the heat and the traffic, but then his gaze froze. The hawker looked just like Elinam, his wife. She had the same face, the same warm eyes, the same body stature, and even the same dentition as his wife. He stared, barely believing what he was seeing. For a moment, he rubbed his eyes, convinced it was a trick of the heat.
Is that Elinam?
He muttered to himself. His heart began to pound. He had left Elinam at home with the children, hadn't he? What would she be doing out here selling plantain chips in this heat? Just as he reached for his car door, the traffic light turned green. Horns blared behind him, jolting him back to reality. He had no choice but to move forward, watching helplessly as the woman looked like his wife disappeared into the throng of cars behind him. That evening, as soon as Elinam walked through the door, he felt a surge of anger and confusion. He had been carrying the strange encounter all day, the image of Elinam hawking plantain chips haunting him.
Elinam,
He started, his voice tense.
what were you doing on the street today selling plantain chips?
Elinam looked up, startled, her brow furrowing in confusion.
Me? Selling plantain chips? What are you talking about, Elinam? I was home with the children all day.
Elinam shook his head, frustration seeping into his voice.
Don't lie to me. I saw you. You were moving from car to car, shouting about plantain chips. You even had the same hairdo. Are you seriously going to deny it?
Elinam's eyes widened and she looked genuinely baffled, even a little frightened.
Echenim, I swear, I have been here with Adum and Ellie all day. Why would I be out selling plantain chips? You must have sent someone else.
For a moment, Ejenim felt a certainty waver. She looked so sincere and her confusion seemed real. But then he remembered the woman's face, the unmistakable resemblance.
I know what I saw.
He said firmly, though with less conviction than before.
You looked exactly like her, Elinam. Exactly.
Elinam moved closer, placing a gentle hand on his arm.
You must be mistaken. Sometimes when people are stressed, they think they see things. It could have been someone who just looked like me. Trust me, I was here with the kids.
Ejenim stared at her, caught between his memory of the hawker and the woman standing in front of him, looking hurt and bewildered. After a long moment, he sighed and let it go, but the doubts remained lodged in his mind, refusing to disappear.
Come on, dear. Go take your shower. I'm about 70 now, Elinam said.
That night, the memory of the hawker's face haunted him. He had so many questions, so much confusion. Was he going crazy, or had he seen Elinam on the street after all? The next morning, Ejenim could hardly concentrate on anything but the mysterious hawker. He was certain that if he saw her again, he could confirm that it was Elinam, no matter how much she denied it. Driven by this obsession, he decided to take the same route home, hoping to catch her in the act. As he approached the traffic spot where he had seen her, he craned his neck, searching each hawker's face with an intensity that startled even him himself. But she wasn't there. The woman who looked so much like his wife was nowhere in sight. Determined, he rolled his window and waved over a nearby plantain chip seller. "Please," he said, trying to sound casual. "I am looking for the lady who sells chips here. Slim with a nice stature and a bit dark in complexion. Do you know her?" The hawker nodded, recognizing his description. "Oh yeah," she replied. "She is here most days, but she didn't come today. Maybe she went back to her village for a few days." Ejenim's stomach churned. So she wasn't here today. He thanked the hawker and drove home, his mind racing. Was Elinam telling the truth after all? Or was this just a coincidence? But the image of the woman's face couldn't leave him. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Still, without proof, he had no choice but to brush it off. Maybe Elinam was saying the truth after all. Maybe my imagination is playing mind games with me, he said to himself. Later that evening, Ejenim arrived home, his mind still bustling with questions. His eyes searched the room as he walked in, looking for his wife, and found her sitting on the couch, gently rocking Ellie to sleep. He was about to sit down when Elinam looked up, her expression softening.
"Did you see her today?"
Elinam asked, her tone casual but with an edge of curiosity. She had obviously been wondering if Ejenim would find the lady again, and the question was almost too nonchalant. Ejenim paused, his hand still on the door frame, his stomach twisting. He wasn't sure how to answer. He had spent the whole day retracing his steps, even asking around the area where he had first seen the hawker, but the lady was nowhere to be found. "No," he replied finally, trying to keep his voice steady.
"I didn't see her today."
Elinam's face relaxed slightly, though she still seemed a little too interested in his response.
"Maybe you were just imagining it,"
she said, with a small smile, almost as if she was trying to reassure him.
"You have been under a lot of stress, Ejenim. You need to rest."
Ejenim wasn't convinced, but he didn't press the matter further. He had expected to see her again, but the fact that she wasn't there left him feeling even more unsettled. There was something about the whole situation that didn't sit right with him. He could still picture the lady's face, her eyes, her smile, and the unmistakable body stature. It was like she was a mirror image of Elinam, and it made no sense to him. He sat down beside her, his mind still racing, but he forced himself to push the thoughts aside.
Maybe you are right,
He said, though the words didn't come easily.
maybe I am just imagining things.
Elinam seemed satisfied with his response, but Ejenim couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't adding up. He kept telling himself that he would let it go, but the doubt lingered, gnawing at him. 2 weeks later, Ejenim found himself stuck in traffic again at the same spot. As he sat waiting, he heard the familiar voice shouting,
Yes, plantain chips. Yes, plantain chips.
He turned quickly, and there she was, the lady who looked like his wife.
I knew it.
Ejenim thought. This time, he wasn't going to let her get away. He found a place to park his car and hurried towards the lady.
Elinam, I've caught you this time.
He said, tapping her shoulder, but the lady turned around with a confused expression.
Excuse me, say, she said. Are you talking to me?
Yes, Elinam. Why are you here? Where is Ellie? Who did you leave Adon with? And who is picking her up from school?
Ejenim demanded. The lady shook her head.
I'm sorry, say, but I think you are mistaken. My name is Elinam, not Elinam. I've been selling plantain chips for the past month. I don't know who you are talking about. Adom, Ellie, those names do not ring a bell in my head. Please, 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 allow me to go and sew. I haven't sewed anything since I came and it's getting late already.
Ejenim was stunned.
But you look exactly like my wife.
He said,
She has the same dentition as yours.
and just as Ejenim was speaking, he spotted the same black mark on Elinam's neck, on the lady's neck, and it was at the same spot.
Hey, Elinam, why are you telling lies? The same black mark you've had since childbirth is there on your neck. Is it a crime for you to be selling on the streets? I'm just concerned who you flirt Adom and Ellie with.
Ejenim started to get angry.
Elinam, stop all this drama. Pack your stuff and let's go home. I don't want to create any scene here.
Elikem's face grew serious.
You must be mistaken, say. I've never seen you before. I don't know who Adom is, and I don't know who Ellie is. I started selling here not long ago, but I heard my parents were sick and I had to go look after them in the village. I haven't been here for the past 2 weeks. I just returned yesterday. I'm begging you, say. Please leave me alone. You might be mistaking me for someone else.
Still unsure, Ejenim reached out to his pocket to take his phone. He showed her a picture of Elinam on his phone. As soon as Elikem saw the picture, she froze. Her face went pale, and she stared at the photo for what felt like forever.
How? How do you know this woman?
She asked, her voice shaking.
She's my wife.
Ejenim replied,
We've been married for 5 years and we have 2 children together.
Elikem's hand trembled as she reached into her purse and pulled out an old worn photograph. It was a photograph of 2 young girls who looked exactly like Elinam and Elikem.
That's because she's my twin sister.
Elikem whispered.
But she died 6 years ago in a motorcycle accident.
What?
Ejenim felt like the ground had fallen from under him.
That's impossible.
He said, shaking his head.
I've been married to Elinam for 5 years and we have 2 beautiful children together.
Elikem looked just as confused as Ejenim.
I don't know what to tell you, say. But my sister passed away in our village 6 years ago. I was there. I saw it happen. Please let me have a look at the picture one more time.
Elikem requested. Ejenim handed her the phone, showing her a picture of Elinam, the woman he called his wife. As Elikem stared at the photo, she blinked rapidly, her mouth slightly open in shock. She looked up at Ejenim, then back at the phone.
This is hey.
She whispered, her voice faltering. Ejenim leaned in, watching her closely.
Is this your sister?
Elikem nodded slowly, her eyes wide.
Yes, this is Elinam, my twin sister. She is the oldest and I'm the youngest. But do you have this photo? Where did you get it?
Ejenim felt a knot tighten in his chest.
She's my wife. We've been married for 5 years and I said we have 2 children together.
Elikem's hand shook slightly as she put the phone down.
But that's impossible.
She muttered, staring at the floor.
She died 6 years ago in a car accident. Like I said, I was there and I saw it happen.
Ejenim's heart pounded as he tried to make sense of the words. He had seen this woman, Elinam, alive just hours before, and now here was her twin sister claiming she had died. Elikem looked at him, her face full of disbelief.
How can this be? How could she be alive?
Desperate for answers, Ejenim asked Elikem to come home with him and meet Elinam. Maybe there was some kind of mistake somewhere. As Ejenim led Elikem to his car, both of them were silent, their minds racing with questions and disbelief. Elikem clutched her bag tightly, casting side glances at him. She couldn't shake the feeling that her mind was playing tricks on her.
How could this man claim to be married to Elinam, my twin sister, who died years ago?
She thought, gripping the seat as he began to drive. Ejenim's thoughts were no less turbulent. His mind replayed Elikem's words over and over. Elinam is my twin sister and she passed away 6 years ago. His pulse raised and he gripped the steering wheel tightly, glancing over at her to steady her expression. The silence between them grew heavier as they neared his house. Both of them were searching for answers, their minds grappling with questions neither dared to ask. Finally, Ejenim broke the silence.
I know what I saw,
he murmured, almost to himself.
I've been married to her for 5 years, and we have children together.
Elikem stared ahead, her eyes glassy with confusion.
I don't know what's happening, but if you say this is my sister, then I need to see her with my own eyes.
As they pulled into the driveway, Ejenim's hands trembled. They stepped out, and he called out,
Elinam, I'm home, and I brought someone with me.
His voice wavered as he glanced at Elikem, both bracing for the impossible. Moments later, Elinam appeared in the doorway and Elikem's eyes widened in shock.
Hey, Elinam!
She gasped, but just as she stepped forward, Elinam's face froze. Without a word, she turned and fled, disappearing around the corner of the house before they could react. Elikem's knees nearly buckled, and Ejenim felt his heart drop. They exchanged a look of horror, both feeling an icy chill settle over them as they realized the truth. This was no mistake, no illusion. Elinam, or whatever she was, had vanished. He couldn't believe what had just happened. Over the next few weeks, he tried to come to terms with what he had seen, but nothing made sense. Elikem decided to take Ejenim and the children to their village, the Volta region, to meet her parents. There, Ejenim learned the truth that Elinam had indeed died 6 years ago. In shock, Ejenim returned home, unable to comprehend the mystery of his wife. Was she a ghost, or had he been living a lie all this time? Though his heart was broken, he chose to focus on raising Adom and Eli, never remarrying and living with the memory of a love that was far more mysterious than he could ever explain. This story teaches us that trust and honesty are the foundations of any strong relationship. Secrets, no matter how well hidden, have a way of surfacing, often with painful consequences. Ejenim's experience with Elinam shows us the importance of knowing and understanding the people we choose to build our lives with. Additionally, it reminds us that we should be open to the truth, even when it challenges what we think we know. Do you believe in ghosts? Have you ever encountered something that couldn't be explained? Or maybe you've heard tales of spirits lingering, leaving behind mysteries that haunt the living. Share your stories in the comment section. I would love to know if you believe ghosts do actually exist.
If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more thrilling tales, mysteries and adventures, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and also turn on your post notification bells as well, so you get notified anytime I upload a new video, because there is plenty of more to come and I bet you don't want to miss any.